Well, Nate, welcome to South Florida. It looks like you got to play some golf the other day. How'd you like our humidity after being in Winnipeg, Vegas, and drier climes?
It was something. I'm actually more worried about the top of my head and all the sun that I'll be having. But you know what? It's been good so far. It's the first time I hit my driver all day that day and didn't go out of bounds. So, really good day for me.
Good. A little bit about the hockey. Training camp starts tomorrow. Palmery's kind of famous for these 3-day skate sessions. Basically, are you ready to get back into that?
As much as any guy would say that they're ready for it, you can't really ever prepare for it. I have had fall in the past. I do know what's coming in certain perspective, but at the same time, it's never really something you can actually get out and gear yourself up for. But just knowing that everyone's going through it, it's not just one person, not just me and you. It's everybody having to go through it. So it does give you solace in the fact that you and your teammates are going through it. So it's exciting is an interesting word to use for it, because it's exciting to be on the ice. Is it exciting to do that practice? Well, stay tuned.
A lot of guys have talked about, like, as we've gone through the playoffs the past couple of years, have credited the way that they started camp out. Can you see some correlations into that?
I do. I think you put yourself in the position where you know how Paul's going to treat you. You know how he's going to test you. You know that your guys can get through it. And when it gets hard at the end of the year, that's really what it comes down to, is looking across and seeing guys and saying, I know this guy can do it. I know this guy can do it. And that's really what it comes down to at the end of the year, because the margin for error is so slim that that's what you have to believe in. You know, you believe in your systems, yeah, you believe in your skill, yeah, but when the chips are in, you got to believe that the guy's going to be able to do anything for you.
First, welcome to South Florida.
Thank you.
And obviously, you played with Paul for Paul before, but just the opportunity when it came about, hey, I can go and play with Coach Maurice one more time. How are discussions like that when you're at camp, and how excited were you to finally sign a contract to become a Florida Panther?
Yeah, thank you. I am pretty blessed to be here, and given how things have gone, and with Paul and with myself, and I felt so re-energized when I had him my first year in Winnipeg. Just his style and how he treats players, and understanding what you need to do for him to get the most out of you and the most out of your group. And it was a pretty quick decision on my part. I was going through the free agency process and had this place highlighted as as somewhere that I really wanted to go, and hopefully it would work out. They had other things going on the first couple of days, maybe like planning on their parades and everything like that, so I understand why I couldn't take a couple of days. But for me, it's the idea that you hit the reset button on your whole career. Like, I've taken this summer as a go back to hardware mode, like you're a rookie again, and just come on and have some fun with this, like playing the game without all the extracurriculars, all the other pressures that added on to yourself. And I mean, most players are their worst critics, right? Like for me, you're just like your harshest critic. And so for me, I've always been talking about my own game, and with a team that's won, and you're just coming down here to jump on board. You get your feet moving, jump on the back of the bus, and get ready for a hell of a run.
I mean, for you, you've had some pretty close calls on winning the Stanley Cup in your career, like in 2018 with the Golden Knights. I mean, how is it for you kind of jumping on board here as one of the hungrier guys for a Stanley Cup, trying to kind of inject some energy into this team after they're just coming off the run they had?
Yeah, it sucks being so close. I mean, you could ask these guys these questions last year at this time. They probably would have had a different answer, but they do it this year at this time. It sucks being that close. You put so many things into it, being in the conference finals 2 other times as well. But what I love about the energy about this group and in myself is that you don't see it in the room. It was something that I was being very interested to see when I first got down here, what the room was going to be like, how guys were going to act. I've never been around this before. I've never seen a team win and what it's like to be in the room the next day or the next year. And I've been really impressed with how the guys have taken themselves and approached this year with the idea that it was awesome. I want that again. It wasn't, that was awesome, peace, enjoy myself, enjoy the rest of my career. That's not the type of mentality that I've seen so far over the last couple of weeks. And so talk about being excited to join a team, that's what makes you so excited. Because there are times when you talk to other players, you get there, and all of a sudden you get guys that haven't done anything all summer, that's been, enjoying themselves. That's not the way this group has been operating.
First off, welcome to South Florida. Two questions for you. First, you mentioned hitting the reset button in your career. The Panthers have had a pretty good track record the last few years of guys who are basically in the same position as you and then flourishing here. Is that part of the selling point for you, or is that something that you recognize, and what is it like to be able to have that chance?
Yeah, that's a great point. Excuse me. It's something that I definitely looked at and said, you know what, they've done such a great job with players here, and it's a tribute to the system and the players they have in the room. I mean, Ball comes in after them winning a ton of games and still gets them across the finish line. It's also the guys that they've had here and how this culture has been built. I had this in my first couple of years in Vegas. You know it when you see it. You know what you have in your room. You know what drives your room, and that's the type of environment that I want to associate myself with when I came down my free agency process. So that's my biggest thing when I looked at it. Is you put yourself in a position where you know how guys are going to act. Now, I don't know a lot of the guys, but you can just feel the room, and it feels a lot like I did our first year in Vegas, first couple of years there, and that's what you have to have. If you don't have it, it's very hard to get it back.
And then just from the other guy's perspective, from watching from a distance how the Panthers play, how do you feel you fit into their scheme, their system?
I love the way they skate. I love the D. I love how much they pressure. Don't tell Goose, but he's one of my favorite defensemen to watch. It's awesome. I ran a camp this summer and I was teaching kids how to surf up and use their sticks, and about 30 of the 100 clips are him. But I love that. I love the way that our defense plays and how active they are, but how just aggressive they are. And how smart they are with their pressure. And I think that speaks to my game to a T. A skating defenseman that can pinch plays off and create turnovers and play in the transition. That's how this team beat teams up in the playoffs. That's how this team was able to, every team's got shortcomings, and to fulfill all their shortcomings and say, hey, if we can do this every game, it's going to frustrate the hell out of teams. And look at the excitement, banging my knee out the doors, and be able to go out there and do it. So that's the exciting part for me to interject myself into the system.
I mean, how unique of a situation, or how unique of an opportunity is this for you? Because, I mean, it's not every day a defending Stanley Cup champion loses about, 35 to 40 minutes worth of defensemen out there. I mean, how much of an impact do you think you could make on this team this year?
Yeah, and that's, the other part of it, too. I think the pieces are in place, but this team has done a really good job of plugging guys in and understanding that they can play in this system if you have the right guys. And I'm talking with my family and my agent, I feel like I'm the right guy to get in and play in this situation. And there are minutes out there. But I've taken it as none of those minutes are going to be earned from guys that played on a Stanley Cup team. Those minutes have to be earned, and they're not just going to be given away because you have 600, 700 games. They're not going to be given away just because you played in the league. And that's actually was an allure for me in that sense. You kind of get to say, okay, we need to go back in and fight for it again. And that earns minutes, those earned respect from your players and from the coaches to hopefully get into those higher impact situations is honestly all you can ask for from a player and from myself. That's all I could ever ask for. And just getting the chance to do that, that's what's getting me up tomorrow morning.
All good?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
Welcome to South Florida.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Have a good day.